Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Animate, a Star Wars The Force Awakens parody for some reason. Who knows, right? But you're here. I'm glad. I'm here. I'm caffeinated. I'm ready to go. Extra caffeinated. Ready to bang out some more pictures, some more images, and maybe even get to the point where we can actually start animating something. After all, it is called Let's Animate, not Let's Make Crude Rudimentary Shapes over and over endlessly until the end of time. Well, this is probably only about like episode, like 15 or something? Roughly 16? Anyway, again, I've jumped ahead here. You can't see this. Let me see if I can just, on the fly here, quickly change this to my rendered. There. Can you see that? There you go. I'm not going to resize everything, but as you can see, the opacity is so far down that you can actually make out the text and the image underneath. So that's going to be our tracing paper. We'll probably have that get smacked on somehow pretty quickly. I'm going to go back and change. I'm not going to do this every time because this is kind of a pain in the butt to look through here, and there we go. I'm going to have to reset this. Yeah, this is going to be a pain. But it gives you an idea anyway that to trust that this actually does look a lot better than you might expect, given what you're actually looking at. How we're going to have this appear, I don't know. I guess it's going to have to be in like a switch layer. That gets thrown on there. What I'm most concerned about right now is the arm, getting the Abrams arm in here in such a way that it's proportioned properly and looks good and makes some semblance of sense. But yeah, I mean, all in all, still making progress on finishing this particular project, which always feels good, and hopefully we get some viewers in here to start enjoying this stuff, because that ultimately is the point. And if it's going to be a time when I gonna have to decide if this is worth carrying on. Once I get kind of happy with where I'm at in terms of my ability to do it, I'm gonna have to decide if it's something I wanna keep doing even in the long term. But until then, we're going to carry on, keep on keeping on. One thing that's really got me, really kind of down in the dumps with this whole thing has nothing to do with creating the content. It has to do with the uploading, and the uploading of the videos is just, these ones are not bad. These Let's Animates go very quickly. They're very smooth. They upload no problem. It's the Let's Plays. Something as simple looking as Celeste is taking hours and hours to upload a simple 20-minute video of, and that's really got me kind of confused. We don't have a whole whack of options for internet providers around here, so I feel stuck. But there are a couple of options, and so I feel like I'm stuck, but I should be able to figure something out. It can't be that hard to. I don't know what kind of upload speed. It'd be easy enough to figure out what kind of upload speed my provider says I'm getting, but it's another thing entirely to be able to know what kind of upload speed I'm actually getting. Because I wouldn't hesitate to think for a second. I wouldn't hesitate to think that that those two are not the same. So what I've done here is this ends up looking a lot more like sleeves that are sprinkled up a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking in the rendering here, and that's the image that I'm getting. Now we're going to have to tweak this hand situation a little bit, kind of loop it around, give them a more what do you call it? More dexterity-driven look here, to make it look as if he's actually holding on to something. Give him a thumb, give him opposable digits here, and see what we can come up with in terms of imagery to portray this idea of grabbing and holding on to something. In the meantime, it's going to look like a absolute garbled mess, but maybe with a little bit of care and a little bit of patience, something at all will come of it. But yeah, so what I've been doing is posting a lot of videos to the subreddit, because I had a few fan type stuff that were already made that I wanted to get up on the NLSS subreddit. I've done that. I got the last one's going to go up today, the last one that I have on hand anyway, and then from there we're going to see if I can keep this going as like a weekly thing, doing just a very simple NLSS fan type thing to the subreddit. Another way to help keep my skills honed, keep my attention on this subject matter going for a while, and not getting bogged down and distracted by other things. At least not, to the point that it distracts me from doing anything animated related. So I don't know if I want like two different poses for the... Like we should be trying to stick another... These should be tilted right around. I'm only going to be able to do one video here because gotta switch gears and go into some fatherly type duties in a minute here. Just in terms of helping out with a little project we're working on for the upcoming festival I've talked about in a different video. Got some stuff that we're gonna do, to encourage the old creativity, encourage the old participation. Active community involvement and all that fun stuff. I'm not so big on like, I volunteer a little bit here and there. I mean, I'm not so big on dedicating X number of hours of your life every day to a particular group or cause or whatever you want to call it, but it's good to have something, in my opinion, outside of your own sort of personal ambitions. It's good to have some other goal or group that you want to participate with. Make sure you learn a little bit about the value of volunteers and how the stuff that you may like to do, you got to realize that not all that just happens. There are people that do things that on their own time, their own free time, and volunteer to allow that to happen. It doesn't just fall out of the sky. It doesn't just, not all these people are always, especially in small town like where I'm talking about here. This stuff doesn't just happen on its own. There's not just an employee for everything. There's not always someone being paid to do something. It's a lot of the times it's completely volunteer driven. And so if you're going to participate and enjoy some of those things, then you should give back a little bit, within your means, obviously. And it's not required, but if you've got the means, it's something I think everyone should really consider doing. Give you some kind of a sense of community and some pride, some warm fuzzy feelings. Not really. I can honestly say, in all the years that I've been volunteering, I've never once had like a quote unquote warm, fuzzy feeling. Maybe that's because I'm not doing things like I'm not even doing things like food bank or anything like that, where people's lives are really a lot of the time dependent on your work. I'm doing more like extracurricular stuff, first world people type stuff that if you're in a position where you notice that the thing that you like isn't getting done, and that's like means like a bad day for you, well then you're probably you're doing pretty good in life, probably, from my experience anyway. It's not the kind of stuff that it's like, I didn't get to eat today because no one was working at the food bank. No, this is like I didn't get to cross country ski because nobody groomed the trails, right? It's like a very first world kind of deal. But still, I mean, and I don't even cross country ski. I don't know why I ended up in that particular profession, but I did. It's not a profession; it's a volunteer thing, but I did, and I enjoy it. It's an outdoor thing. It's a enjoy the weather thing. I have this vision that J.J. Abrams just holds his pencil like horribly. We need some finger covers for this here. Let's go back to the arm. And we'll loop these fingers around. I don't even know when you think. It's so hard to like the things you take for granted. Like, how do you hold a pencil, right? Like, I don't know how I hold a pencil. Now, if I'm animating this stuff, it's like I gotta learn how people actually hold their pencils. And it's like, I don't got time for this. I just want to make funny jokes. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? But we're figuring this stuff out. We're working on it. Time is it? Yeah, about 2 o'clock here, local time. I'm gonna have to bounce after this video, just for a bit. Do some more recording tomorrow. I went through a whole bunch of Celeste today. Really feel like I came off pretty negative in general, because I don't know. I just wasn't having a good morning. Wasn't feeling it. Lots of phone calls, like I talked about in that video. Just asinine sort of topics. It's just like stuff that anybody should have been able to just not bother me with. And yet, somehow it became something that I had to deal with and figure out. But, we got through it, so it's fine. It's all good. And in the long run, it's not that big a deal, right? Who freaking cares? It's just about trying to dedicate as much time to this hobby as I can, because, I've been putting it off for so long. It's just like something I've wanted to do, expand on it for a long, long time. And I've just been really screwing the pooch. So that's an expression I don't get either, but it's kind of inappropriate for this case, for this situation. But yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for so long, and I just put it off and put it off and put it off. And now when I try to do it, it's like, oh, by the way, here's every other thing that anyone could ever possibly want from you. We need you now. And it's like, well, where were you? Every other time, nobody gives a crap about what I'm doing. But today, or these days, because I'm trying to do something for myself, it's like, oh no, we need you around. We need you doing all the things, and you can't get away from that. So there's our Abrams arm. It doesn't come. This is where I start to make sacrifices. Stuff like this bothers me to look at it, but in the long run, I don't think it's gonna matter, right? We've got his arm coming in at an angle like this that really doesn't reflect what it would look like in real life. It's also a touch small, considering how big I've made everything else. But I might just end up shrinking the screen. I don't know. But we'll end up doing something here. We'll end up animating this arm in some way. I'll probably do it with points, because that usually ends up leaving a much more much more fluid movement, whereas if you're moving layers, they tend to jank a little bit. But if I can move points, just take a look here. We'll just grab these points. We'll mark them here. Bing, bang, boom. We'll also mark the rotation. Yep, just like that. And then we'll move across here, and then we'll grab this. We'll kind of pivot you up like this and over. And then we'll kind of go to here, and we'll kind of bring it down and in. And then we'll kind of bring like this, and go like that. And then we'll eventually we'll have the pencil follow. So don't get too hung up on how it looks at this particular juncture. But we'll just kind of move it around all over the place. Over here, we'll then mark the arm as a layer here, and then it'll move kind of over, and then we'll tidy all that up after. The point being that goes like that, and then we go back to some points, and we maybe just kind of pivot this up like that, and then it kind of comes back down like this. You know, it's just to get the point across that he's. I mean, we can slow this too to make it look like he's going much more what do you call it? Much more diligently. You know, and then we don't have to cover as much ground. Yeah, that'll be fine. In the long run, that will be fine. We'll just have... oh, but we don't have a bone to attach that to, do we? In this arm layer, we'll add a bone like this. We will... yeah, that was a huge oversight on my part. But what happens if we just bind this bone layer, or the pencil layer, to the bone layer? So we go like that, and the pencil appears, and we grab that bone, and we bind that layer to that. We bind that layer to that bone, that pencil appears layer, and then when we hit play, no, because the bone isn't moving. Yeah, so what we'll end up doing is going back and taking out all these points for the layer as well. Yeah, we're good there. So we'll have, see, and then when I get into this habit where I've been, what do you call it? How do we manipulate the bone? Rather than actually animating, you know, doing the bone rigging, watching how things move, getting the timings right. Instead of doing all that, I've been just drawing out scenes, right, and laying out the scenes. I forget, you know, a simple thing like rigging the bones properly, and you know, it leads to a whole whack of delays because I've just wasted all that time moving that stuff around to see how it looks for something that isn't even going to be like that. So we'll do that. We'll go back to here and here, and we'll grab these points again, and we will bind those to there. And then when I manipulate this bone, yeah, much better. Okay, and then we can also, yeah, okay, so those points there, so then everything up in that way is going to go onto this bone here. So you're going to get all these. I never bought my new mouse yet. So you're going to get all those. And then when I manipulate everything, yeah, everything starts to go good. So I'll move those around so that we get some proper crotch, you know, so that this point here that's bending like that ends up staying in this area, and we can just kind of do that. And then with this layer, we can just move things out, elongate his arm so that we can cover the screen a bit more. So if we select that, we got those. All those points are stuck to that layer already, to that bone. That's good. Okay. Yeah, so if we were to move at this point down to here and then bring this guy up to here. His forearms are kind of squat looking. Yeah, it doesn't look great. Doesn't look too hot right now, but it's gonna be. It's not meant to be perfect right now. It's meant so that I can kind of position everything and get a look to see where everything is gonna go. You know, see how it's gonna look moving across the screen, kinda, and get a feel for that overall impression, right? Yeah. So we're going to call it there. We're going to put in a cut. We're starting to actually animate in this Let's Animate series. That strikes me as a good thing. Still making progress, which has been nonstop since I started, and I like that. So spirits are still high despite just feeling the time pressure, you know. That's all it is. And so until then, thanks very much. See you soon.